I speak to you tonight from Toronto, the traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. Toronto is also home to many diverse First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people. There are people joining us today from other important Indigenous lands with their own treaties and unceded territories. We are grateful for the opportunity to share the land and to learn. Before I start, I have a message from my dry cleaner. He's grateful for tonight's event because it's finally meant that I've had to put on my whole suit. Thank you for being here in Toronto and virtually via Zoom. One of the silver linings of the pandemic is the ability and willingness to come together in new ways. We're connecting across the country and across borders tonight. For those of you watching online, I really appreciate the supportive emails you've sent me. I feel your presence with me tonight. For those of you in attendance, it's great to see so many colleagues and friends in one room. It's been way too long since we've been able to get together, and we will have to do this over and over because I'm quite enjoying it. I want to thank Attorney General Doug Downey for his kind remarks today. As you've heard, I've known Doug, Mr. Attorney General, for many years, and I know that the Ontario justice system is in good hands under his watch. I also want to acknowledge some other justice partners and colleagues in the room and online tonight. And I apologize in advance if I'm missing anybody. There's obviously a lot of people who are important in the justice system as well as friends and colleagues, but there's a couple people I'd like to call out. The Treasurer of the Law Society of Ontario, Teresa Donnelly, as well as the Bencher of the Law Society of Ontario, Julia Shindoy. The Chair of the Board of the Canadian Bar Association, Mo Chakala. The President of the South Asian Bar Association, Dever Prasad. In-house Counsel Worldwide Executive Director, Jeff Creighton. Former CBA President, Ray Adlington. Former CBA President, Vivian Solomon. OBA VP, Ranjan Agarwal. I also want to take this time to acknowledge the President of the ABA, Reg Turner, who's watching on Zoom from his offices in Detroit. Finally, while I hope I get the chance after my speech to personally thank you all for attending, I want to acknowledge one of my oldest friends and the best man at my wedding, which sadly was many, many years ago, Stuart Rudner, who is here today. We've been friends since second year of law school when he hitched a ride with me to play in an Osgood hockey game. I'm very lucky to be supported by an amazing board of directors. We've been meeting remotely during the pandemic, and as Paul mentioned, finally after 19 months, met in a hybrid in-person and online model today. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge them. First, I'd like to recognize CBA President Steve Bijot of Quebec. We've gotten to know each other well over these past years, and given his record as a litigator, I'm very happy we're on the same team. Steve's has become a trusted advisor on a variety of subjects, including my French accent, which we'll hear later in the speech. Merci, Steve's. I want to especially thank the following board members who've completed their 2-year terms. Chandra Flett of Alberta, Susan Gover of Newfoundland and Labrador, Bonnie Redekop of Saskatchewan, and Mark Nareau of Nunavut. It's been a privilege working with you, and I hope to see you in person as opposed to on another Zoom call very soon. I'm thrilled and grateful to be surrounded by an incredible, capable board this year, both new and returning board members, from whose wisdom we will all benefit from. The returning board members are Eden Alexander of the Yukon, David O'Brien from New Brunswick, Jonathan Cody from Prince Edward Island, Brittany Scott from the Northwest Territories, Susan Johnson from Nova Scotia, Melanie Mortensen of British Columbia, and John Stefaniak of Manitoba. The new board members are Steve Surfingling of Saskatchewan, Lynn Vickers of Ontario, Melanie Del Rizzo of Newfoundland and Labrador, James Barbsby of Nunavut, and Michael McKinney of Alberta. I look forward to working with you as well as the CBA branch presidents, section chairs, volunteers, and staff. Our association is what it is because of the great work you do. I would not be here today, I would not be where I am in my life today without a strong family supporting and encouraging me all the way. I want to thank my parents, Max and Nancy Gay, who are watching from my hometown of Shanty Bay, Ontario. If you're not sure where that is, ask the Attorney General because it's in his riding. But it's quite near Barrie, Ontario, for those who know where that is. I really could not have asked for two better parents and role models. Those who know me well will not find this hard to believe, but I'm not sure I was the easiest kid to raise with my endless energy and constant questions. My parents showed patience with me and enrolled me in numerous activities so I could follow my interests and expand my horizons. Without knowing it at the time, they also taught me the family business. My father, like his father before him, is a trained lawyer. My mother is both an accomplished poet and lawyer. At the dinner table, we discussed, some may say debated, the issues of the day. They taught me how to make a strong argument based on facts and logic and advocate for what I believed in. They taught me other crucial values like hard work, perseverance, and how to remain positive. They also taught me the importance of using one's skills to give back, as they were both very active in serving the community, the province, and our country. Thank you for all you've done and continue to do for me, Mom and Dad. I also want to thank my sister Tracy, also a formidable lawyer, who I may have argued with a couple of times growing up, who is in attendance tonight. Last, but certainly not least, my wife Christina and my daughters Avery and Lily. To Christina, you've been a constant in my life for 15 years, supported me through ups and downs, and are my best friend. You've been supportive of all my volunteer work and have picked up the slack when I've had to travel or been on calls all hours of the day and night. I would not be here without you. Thanks. To my kids, one of them's videotaping me right over there, you keep me grounded and teach me what's important in life. And if you have kids, you're going to know these things. Well, everyone's going to know the first one, YouTube, roadblocks, and something called Toca Boca, which my daughter will talk to you about afterwards. In all seriousness, you're amazing, and I'm very proud to be your father. Thank you for everything. The CBA is 125 years old this year. It's the honor of my life to become its president, the first public sector lawyer in this role, in the service of more than 36,000 members across the country. Je suis fier d'accepter le rôle de président de l'Association de Barreau Canadien et de défendre les interests de la profession juristique. C'est un honneur pour moi. I want to thank my employer and my colleagues at the Ontario Securities Commission for their support of my CBA role. A few of them are here tonight, including Tyler Fleming, Nazim Kaji, Carolyn Shaw-Remington, Jeff Kehoe, and Connor Breslin. Thank you very much for coming. Others are watching online, including OSC Chair Grant Bingo and the rest of my team. I really appreciate your support. Everyone has their own reason for becoming a lawyer. As I mentioned, my inspiration was my family. Growing up, I saw how one could use one's knowledge and skills to help people, not just in their legal work, but in their communities as well. But as well, I wanted to fit in. I did it my own way, mind you. I started my career working for government here in Ontario, including for Attorney General Charles Harnack and then the late Jim Flaherty when he was the province's Attorney General and later Deputy Premier and Finance Minister. I also worked in private and the non-for-profit sectors as General Counsel to FP Canada and the Human Resources Professionals Association, where I was involved in the intervention in the Supreme Court case of Honda versus Keys. Everywhere I've worked, I've benefited from great mentors. Thank you for your support as allowed me to be the person I am today. I've always been involved in the CBA. I've been involved in the CBA for many years, and I've always been struck by the resources and the opportunities that the association provides its members. Regardless of the career path you take, the CBA is always there for you, whether it be professional development content or networking or initiatives that help you stretch into new areas of law. As for volunteer opportunities at the CBA, they really are endless. They allow you to grow both professionally and personally. Getting involved not only develops and sharpens your skills, but you meet new people and end up making great friends from across the country. My priority this year is to strengthen our legal community. If there's one thing that the pandemic has taught us, is that we are better together than we are alone. COVID-19 has led to increased workloads for many of us. For some, business has been great, but the pandemic has highlighted how difficult it can be to maintain a healthy work-life balance as a lawyer. I can personally attest to how much Google Play Store's credits were required to keep my children entertained during work calls. The reality is that regardless of financial successes, it's been a really tough year and a half. And my thoughts go out to those who've lost loved ones during this time. Mental health and wellness is top of mind for many of our members. It's okay to acknowledge that mental health isn't always what it should be. It is a crucial priority for me as president to make sure that our members have the tools they need to address their mental health and wellness needs, and further, to end the stigma of frankly talking about how you feel. As I discuss the area of mental health and wellness, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge those who have been trailblazers in this area before me, including former OBA President Orlando Da Silva and former CBA President, now Justice Michelle Holland. During my presidency, I also want to encourage our members to strengthen the communities around them by volunteering and getting involved in local projects or initiatives. As my parents taught me, lawyers have a valued position in the community, and we have the skill sets that many organizations are looking for. We need to be volunteer leaders within those communities, whether it be pro bono work or getting involved in community boards or something else. Giving back benefits both you and your community. Now a word for young lawyers. Unfortunately, I'm not one of you. I wish I was. I'm what you would call a pre-millennial. Hey, that beats prehistoric. Some of you may want to take a different career path or practice differently than those before you. Some may want to work for non-for-profits or NGOs at home or abroad, maybe in government like I did, or in business. Whatever type of career you choose, traditional or otherwise, the CBA is there to help you as you walk your own path. The CBA is where your voice, your work can make a difference. And that also applies for seasoned legal professionals too. I guess that's the category I fall in, who are starting to think about changing careers or scaling back. You have much to contribute to the legal community, and the CBA helps you along the way. They say you get out of life what you put into it. In my experience, you get more from the CBA than what you put into it. As the pandemic recedes, soon I hope, I look forward to meeting volunteer partners and firms from across the country. I also want to visit our branches and speak about well-being initiatives and listen to provincial and territorial concerns. To make a long story short, it may just be a bit too late for that, sorry. I want to end with a few words on our incredible advocacy work as the CBA does to advance issues that matter most to our members of the legal profession and the public, such as access to justice, the rule of law, procedural fairness, and how to best protect the fundamental rights of Canadians. The board's advocacy priorities for this year is transformation of the justice systems. We will continue to push for greater diversity on the federal bench, including the Supreme Court of Canada. The appointment of Justice Mahmoud Jamal earlier this year was a good first step in the direction of making the court more representative of the people it serves. But more needs to be done. We will continue to advocate for the appointment of an Indigenous justice to the Supreme Court of Canada. There's so much more I could say, but realize since I'm being watched by those at home, I'm now competing with Friends reruns or maybe Jeopardy reruns, so I think it's time to wrap up. This event would not be possible without the invaluable help of numerous people from the CBA, including Interim CEO Paul Payton, Lynn Desmarais, Jason Levy, Brigitte Pellerine, Tamara Thompson, Gathoni Juguna, to name just a few, as well as my assistant from the OSC, Suman Fernandez. We have a lot of work to do, and I'm looking forward to a fantastic year of collegiality, teamwork, and accomplishment. Thank you again, everyone, for being here tonight. Merci, miigwech. Thank you again.